Aquarius, December begins with an emphasis on communicating with friends. And you may find that friends reach out to you, they embrace you, you talk about what you think, what you believe, what's important to you. The new moon in Sagittarius happens on December 2nd. And there can be a new start or new urge or new push to embrace friendships, to embrace the communication with them. Mars goes into Libra, an air sign, and you're an air sign on December 7th. Now, Mars usually takes 2 months to go through any sign. And because it's going to go retrograde in March of 2014, it will take 8 months instead of the 2, going through a sector of your chart that is about journeys, traveling, philosophy, what you believe. And Mars is an energizing factor. It's putting energy into it. You can start to think about places you want to go, places you want to travel to. And the day that Mars goes into Libra, we also have the moon in your sign. It was there the day before too. The moon in your sign can emphasize more connections and new starts for you in some way. And Mars going through this, what's called the solar ninth house, you may find new books to read, you may think about places you want to go, or you may think about places that you've been and want to go back to. If you want to know something else, this can be a good time to consider learning more, whether it's formal education or not so formal education, going to a conference, going to a seminar, anything that is stimulating. The full moon in Gemini on the 17th is intense because we have the planet Uranus going direct the same day that the moon is full. Uranus goes direct one day out of the year, so it's chose this day. And the full moon with the moon in Gemini opposite Sagittarius again is emphasizing communications. It also can bring into your life or back in connections with people that maybe you had a romantic interest in before, or they're friends that you wonder if there's any possibility for something more than friendship. But it is about balancing between friendships and the things that you like to do, things that bring you joy, things that are your hobbies. And having with the Uranus going direct that day, there can be a conversation that you have with somebody that stimulates, I always wanted to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let's go do that together. The sun goes into Capricorn on the 21st, the solstice. And again, this particular day is extra special because Venus is going retrograde the same day in Capricorn. Now, when the planets shift into Capricorn, the sun goes into Capricorn, it heralds the month before your birthday. And with Venus going retrograde in Capricorn, it's called in your solar 12th house. Now, the 12th house can be where we can be our own worst enemy, but the 12th house is also where we retreat. When you read simple astrology, they'll talk about the 12th house as being the house of hospitals, prisons, and monasteries. And what do they all have in common? You're confined. And using this energy to know that there's a time and place to go within. There's a time and place to quote unquote confine yourself, to be able to search not on the outside world, but on the inside world. So it's a contemplative time. It's a meditative time. And yes, we're in the middle of all of these holidays and everything, yet still, and by nature, you will be out connecting with friends and all of that. It is suggesting make sure you have time for yourself. You could be out on charge many, many hours of the day. But during this cycle, make sure you have time to recharge yourself. Mars, as we move towards the end of the month, on the 30th, Mars will square Pluto. Mars square Pluto is a very intense energy. It's a lot of athletes have Mars Pluto because it's competitive and it's a lot of physical energy. If there's something you physically want to do, it's a good day to go get stuff done. But in general, for you, being in the house of what you believe and what you want to learn, it could be a time where you are thinking about moving into the next year, what it is where you want to put some effort or energy in what you want to learn. If there's a conversation you need to have, because Mars will also see the Mars Mercury square here, if there's a conversation you feel you need to have that's a little bit on the tough side, make sure that you understand what is my goal, what is the intention of the conversation, so it just doesn't end up being, trying to justify or trying to get somebody else to think your way. It's have the conversation in the realm of, this is where I'm coming from, and this is the reason why I want the conversation that's important. The Venus retrograde can be part of this whole part, as the conversations, and Venus retrograde is rethinking relationships. And it is about relationships, wherever relationships aren't being respectful of each other, respecting your individuality, respecting your time, respecting what you need to do, or feeling appreciated, then those are the relationships that could be rocky. Those relationships where you feel they get me, they respect what I need to do, they respect my time, and we can find mutual times to get together and honor each other and appreciate each other. Those relationships will sail through the Venus retrograde with no problem. We end the year, New Year's Eve, with the moon in Capricorn coming up. The next day, on New Year's Day, we'll have the new moon. So it's a perfect symbol of releasing, letting go of the past, a little bit of nostalgia, letting go of the past, and preparing for a new year and a new start.